Hello YouTube! In this video I want to show you yet another upcoming new Can Gauge Pro. I will call it H.E.D.S. Can Gauge Pro to be precise. The difference from the previous one to this one is it has a 2-inch display with 320 by 240 pixels, which gives me more room to play with. It also has 8 neopixels instead of 5. It does have a GPS. It does have micro SD card. It does have a BMP 180 temperature and pressure sensor, which I did not utilize yet. I do have some new screens, but that one is also in the works. And it has the ADXL345 accelerometer chip, which now I included that screen as well. But first I want to show you the gear indicator screen, and this is the stick shift version, which if you're not in gear and not driving, it will show you N as neutral. And then I have here a small animation. I can obviously make this depending on the car you have, if you have 5 gears, 6 gears, 7, 8 or whatever. And I can change the position of the reverse gear, which is not utilized in this screen, but I put it there anyway, so you can see where your reverse is, if it's in this position, down, left or right or wherever. So once you start driving, it will illuminate here depending on which gear you are in, and this is fast enough. So since you will most likely will be skipping gears when you slow down and not go in a sequential order, so this is fast enough to show you the screen that you are in. I mean, not the screen, the gear obviously. So obviously it's easier to see here than to see here, if you want a glimpse at it and see at it, but I did have the room and I could not go any larger on the digit, and I figured why not. So this is the gear animation. Obviously I can change the colors. The orange I actually do not like as much, so I will change that to something different. But this is it. This is the new gear indicator, the stick shift. And now I will upload another code, and that's the one with the automatic transmission, which my car has, and I made an animation there as well. Although technically if you put your gear selector in D, it does not move, right? So it is, but I mean, I did it anyway. I do like the animation, and that's the way it is. Hold on 1 second. Let me upload the code. I had to turn on and off the USB adapter. So now it's uploading. And it also has a LDR here behind the PCB for automatic dimming of the neopixels and the display, and it has 2 touch sensors left and right, and it has Bluetooth. Forgot to mention that. That's actually the PCB on the back. So, and it has now a vertical USB Type-C connector, and so now you have practically, you can just unplug it, route your wires to where you want to need them or where you need them in the car, and then just plug the gauge in. So that's how it's gonna work. And I have, let me swivel to the left here, I also now have a USB, what I'm talking about, OBDII plug with a USB connector. So now you can technically, this in longer, you have a regular USB and the Type-C connector, and you can have, I will supply it with a 1 meter or 1.5 meter wire, but you can change that if you need a different color or whatnot. And as you know, the USB Type-C connectors come, this is a straight one. If you want to go out straight, you could have an angled one. Let me see if I have a, of course not, but anyway, if you have an angled one, you can go out left, and since you can flip this, you can go out right. And there are even angled ones that go practically to the bottom, so you could go to the bottom or out to the top. So that will cover all possible installation scenarios you want to do. And so there is no more, it's just pluggable, and you can use your own cable or the one supplied with the gauge. So that's that, the difference. And here is the external 12 volt input, as the OBD connector has a constant 12 volt and you don't want to have this gauge obviously turned on all the time. So that was the connection, and here you can see the animation I have on the drive. I'm sorry, it's late, actually not that late. So this is the animation for D, what I was talking about. Obviously if you put your gear selector in D, it does not go up and down with changing gears, but I made the animation anyway. So here you can see how it does move, and mind you, the angle changes on the bitmap, so that was quite a bit of work to get that different angles and to move it on the screen. So this is the gear, the new gear, and these other screens you have seen before, catalytic converter, quarter-mile fuel tank. This is distance traveled. Obviously my simulator doesn't have that, so it's 0 here, but if you plug it in the car, it will show you, if you have your engine light on, the yellow light, it will show you how many kilometers you drove on that, and if it's off, how long you've been driving with the check engine light off. Obviously this is here now kilometers, it will be switchable to miles. And here I have calculated engine load. This is a run timer that counts the time that your engine is running. As soon as you turn it off and back on, it starts from 0. And this is the DTC error code screen. If you do have an error, it shows you the number of errors and the code, and the gray check engine light will turn on yellow. And here is the Dtc Error Clear screen. Please only do it if you know what you're doing, or if your malfunction has been cleared. I do not want you to damage your car, engine or whatever. So, and to erase it, you actually press and hold the touch sensor for 3 seconds, let go, and then it clears down. You could technically turn off here if you change your mind within 5 seconds, and if it's done, it shows you the check mark and says done. So the next screen does list your PIDs on your CAN bus. Obviously here again on the simulator I don't have them broadcast, so that's not working in the simulator. In the car it does work, and technically you can just have it run and then take a picture of the screen, send it to me, and then I know which PIDs you have, and then we can adjust the code if necessary. The next screen is the GPS screen. I'm inside obviously, and since I'm having that many electronics around here, I do not have visible satellites right now. Normally obviously I do have it, and then I have the time here. This screen is actually also a little convoluted, so I'm not sure if it's gonna stay like this or if I'm gonna simplify it. But you have your time. That's of course independent of the OBD, so it will show your time. It has automatic daylight savings time changing depending where you are, US or Europe, and it shows the date. Obviously we are not in the 80s, but since it doesn't have a log, it doesn't show the correct date. And then here you have latitude and longitude, you have the number of satellites received, you have your speed here, and underneath the twin peaks you will have your altitude. So that's the GPS screen, and this is the accelerometer screen, which shows obviously acceleration. And what you have here, actually the red line will show you will show the z-axis going up and down. So if you hit a pothole or whatever, that will indicate. And the green line will indicate g-forces going right and left, as you see here. And the blue line will actually be acceleration and deceleration, so accelerating and braking. And here you get out of the screen, it will go into auto cycle. Actually I did miss a screen, didn't I? Yes. And this is the latest newest screen. It shows you the advanced timing advance in degrees before DTC, top dead center, and that's the logo for it, the bitmap. You can see the detonation here. When the piston's going up, it's practically detonating before it hits top dead center, and that will show in the car in degrees. It does change with idle and full throttle and whatnot, so here you can see that, and that is on cylinder 1, so it's only on one cylinder that it's measuring on the OBD. So this is the other screen, the latest screen, and then here you can see at the dot it's the end, and then it will go in the off screen, and then here it will start again with the dual screen, speed and RPM, and then the other ones that you, I am sure, have seen before. So this is it. I still have to order carbon fiber front panels. Right now it's a little tight, sales are low. One major news is I can ship to United States again. So I was able to, and then it went away, and then I was able to again, and then it went away, and like a week or 10 days later, now I can ship to the United States again. So for any customers from the United States, you can place an order. So that was the other news. Yes, I think this was it. As I said, this is a 2-inch display with 320 by 240 pixels. It is an IPS display. It's the same display as on my H.E.D.S. can gauge, the smaller one with the 1.3-inch display, which looks like this. So here you can see actually the size difference. It's also not just wider, it's also a little taller, so the numbers are actually easy to read, but it's even bigger than on this one, even though the font size is the same, but the pixel itself is a little larger. So you can see it's like 4 or 5 millimeters taller, actually like 5-6 millimeters taller. So anyway, it is still the same great display. It runs actually on the same display driver, so I did not have to edit the code at all for that. And this is it. If you want to pre-order it, please let me know. I will order hopefully the carbon fiber front panels by next week if all goes well. And this was it. This is the new H.E.D.S. Can Gauge Pro. So thanks for watching and take care, everybody.